You've got a gun, got a big gun, got a gun, it's not a real one, and all you ever think about is running away, all you ever think about is trying to stay away from me.
And welcome back to another episode of the LoudMouth MMA podcast. This is the Not Safe for Work show. Listen, this is going to be a hell of a week. We're not kicking things off. We already have a recap that has been posted to the network. We have so many shows coming out this week, even more than we have. I'm excited to get things cruising so we can talk about UFC 249. It is in the books. It is official. Boy, was it close, though. Boy, did this bad boy almost get derailed. We'll talk about that today. We'll talk about the events of UFC 249. We have another card this Wednesday and on Saturdays. We have two cards, Fred, before we get back here. So, again, I'm Kyle Steele. Joining me, per usual, the one, the only, Frederick James Kirby III.
Listen, Kyle, we've got so much shit to get to today. I literally don't even know where to start. So I'm going to let you. I tell you what, though. Don't you fucking start with that cute little prick. I'll tell you that right now. Don't fucking start with him. We can start with Jacare, fucking Gaethje, and Ngannou. We're not starting with goddamn Cejudo. You said that little prick till the end of the show because I got special fucking thoughts for him. Other than that, we start wherever you want.
So the co-main event was Henry Cejudo taking on Dominic. I was kidding with you. I'm kidding with you. We'll save it. By the way, this is a Not Safe for Work MMA show, so just in case that's not clear. If you don't know what Not Safe for Work is, pause the show, Google it, and then decide if you'd like to come back. Let's start with the pre-fight stuff. We always do this. Let's start with pre-fight stuff. Let's talk about Jeremy Stephens missing weight. That's something that is not going to be talked about because of everything else that's going on, and it's not even remotely the biggest storyline to come out. But I think that's why we should talk about it, right? Because probably nobody else really is. So let's talk about Jeremy Stephens missing weight. This is a card that is, of course, mired in uniqueness. I mean, this is as weird of a card as you're ever going to have in the circumstances surrounding it. I can't think of anything that's weirder than this, right? Multiple cancellations, multiple delays, no fight cards forever, training camps that really can't happen, at least in a traditional sense, right? I get all that. However, the problem is Jeremy Stephens was the only person to miss weight. Even someone who tested positive for the coronavirus made weight. So do you hold this against him? Do you give him benefit of the doubt simply because of, again, everything I talked about? Or is him being the only one missed means he deserves the ridicule of missing weight?
No. I'm giving him the benefit of the doubt. I don't give a shit who made weight. It's a motherfucking cocksucking global pandemic. Need I remind you cocksuckers how many people miss weight on a daily basis for events where there isn't a pandemic? We got 1 to 2 guys or girls who miss weight every fucking event when things are fucking easy peasy. Right now, you've got the excuse of all excuses. Quite frankly, anybody who fucking flew to Florida and fought on that card deserves all the credit in the world. Now, you're right. Nobody else missed weight, so you got to give Jeremy a little bit of slack. But on the same fucking token, he showed up. He fought. He fucking put himself on line with the fucking Ronies. If this isn't a good excuse, then what would be one?
Yep. The only issue with me is that no one else did. So it's like everyone else figured it out. Why not you? But he is cutting quite a bit, though. I don't think that's the easiest weight cut in the world to get down there for him.
And to be fair, he lost.
Yeah, so
I know that doesn't matter, but it's like, karma caught you. It ain't like he won. He didn't come in and dominate with the extra 5 pounds. So it is what it is.
Yeah, and had he won, we would be having a very different conversation, because then it's like, okay, you decided, quote unquote, to not keep cutting the weight, and here we are, right?
Right.
It allowed you to win a fight that would have been very tough to win. So, all right, next thing, of course, obviously this is the actual news that we got to talk about. So Jacare Souza test positive. Put me in. I want to enter the mind of Fred. Enter the Dragon with Bruce Lee. I want to enter the mind of Fred Kirby.
Okay.
When this happened, I think you had finally come on board that this is going to happen, right? You're like, all right, the card's going to happen. We're good to go. But you're a big naysayer and leading up to probably even a week prior to this, like, dude, this still ain't going to happen, right? And you had said the one wasn't going to happen, and it didn't happen, right? So you've been right. Did you think this was the domino that was going to take down this card, or did you think they would be able to salvage it?
Not at the witching hour like that. It was too close. I figured no matter what, what the fuck, the card's going down in fucking 3 hours, right? At that point, it's almost like the wheels are too forward. They're too much in motion. You can't fucking stop the train when it's coming there. But everybody else made weight. Nobody else is sick. They've been tested. We're all here. The fucking commission, the refs, Bruce Buffer's got his suit on. Like, we're too fucking close to go time. Sorry, Jacare, you're getting scratched. Or, even bigger sorry to Uriah Hall. You don't get your fight. But, I briefly, there was like a fucking 10% chance where I'm like, yo, would this actually... But then I thought, they're just too close. Maybe if a few other people had it, it might have been different. But one guy, I knew they were going to be like, fuck that. We're going through with this goddamn event. Now, what I'm curious about is how many people he infected. I want to see the motherfucking test results now, baby. Like, the video that came out, and I think it was Fabricio Verdum was in like a hotel room with him. I want fucking Olenek and Fabricio tested. Do either one of those pricks got it? Do Jacare's corner guys? Did Uriah get it? Like, and I think that'll be very for the next couple of events and just how we go forward in general. Listen, if nobody else caught this shit, right? Hypothetically, let's have a hypothetical conversation. We know Jacare had the Ronies. We know he was around people. We know he was in the building. Now, what does that mean?
A corner man also got it, by the way.
Right. Okay.
One of Jacare's.
A few fucking people are mingling around in the building around folks that had it. So now, again, what does that mean? Now we're going to get the chance to find out. How many people did they infect? There's been so much ambiguity with this disease or this virus, rather. Some people think fucking you can sneeze and from 5 miles away, you'll catch it in the air. Other people think that it's not that contagious at all. I guess we're going to get a chance to kind of find out now. If nobody else on this card has it and he infected fuck all, him and his fucking, corner people, then that's a pretty good sign moving forward. Even if somebody does have it, it doesn't necessarily mean that everybody in the fucking hotel is going to catch it. Now, on the flip side, if they do these tests and fucking Verdum's got it, Olenek's got it, fucking the Buff Man's got it, if, 10 or 12 people on this card are related to this event end up having it, it might change things as soon as next Saturday. I mean, we're still really kind of in the weeds with this thing. We don't know how it all went just yet. So, I don't know. I feel like I didn't think they were going to stop the event, but moving forward, now is the big question. How many people did he infect? Did he infect anybody? And what's that going to mean going forward?
Well, there's also some weird HIPAA stuff involved here where all right, let me put on my, this isn't even a tinfoil hat. This is just how this works. I've worked in the medical field. I worked in legal in the medical field, in fact. And I can tell you that HIPAA laws are not there to protect you, the individual. That's not why there are HIPAA laws. HIPAA laws, anytime you limit someone's ability to disclose, it is benefiting the people up top to keep them from being sued for something, right? I think you saw some of that with USADA as well, with not releasing stuff because he was violating HIPAA. Again, it wasn't to protect the athlete. It was to protect USADA. So that way they don't have to disclose how they're going about things. They don't have to disclose timelines. They don't have to disclose anything. They get to just go, and you see this in law enforcement, and I understand why they do this in law enforcement. But again, it's there to protect themselves when they say this is currently under investigation. We can't talk about it. There are things that you can talk about and related to that, but anything that they can link back to this is a part of the investigation in any way, shape, or form, they're not going to talk about it. Not only to protect the integrity of the investigation, but mainly to protect the department for making sure that information is not released that's going to be detrimental to them, again, to getting sued, to getting accused of not handling something properly. If you can keep all that information in-house and then have a law built in to prevent you from putting it out there, even if you wanted to, it really helps you. So I'm wondering if the UFC is even going to, if somebody else gets it, if they're even going to announce it. You know, I think they had to announce Souza because they didn't have a choice. But now that the card isn't happening anymore, dude, there might be a gag order that's in there. There's already a gag order with you can't, and I'm sure you saw this, but the UFC put a whole slew of stuff in this contract prior to these fights where you can't criticize the UFC at all or you get sued for defamation.
Well, I tell you what, there's a lot of motherfuckers in this MMA entertainment media fucking platform that claim the word journalism or journalists. Time to earn your fucking keep then.
Oh, the people at the event sold their souls. They can't, the journalists who were allowed in the event had to also sign something. To my understanding, they also had to sign something where they are not allowed to criticize the UFC's handling of COVID testing in order for them to work the event.
Well, can I put you on the spot and ask you where the fuck you heard that at?
I could have swore I read it on MMA Fighting.
Oh, okay. Fair enough.
I could have swore. While you're talking, I'll go look it up.
Okay. I don't know. If they do that, that's fucked. I mean, I guess I understand why they would. You got to do what you got to do to cover your own fucking ass in this world. But yeah, that would sting my ass a little because I'm curious. I'm generally curious just for the overall effect too, because I don't fucking know how contagious this shit is. On one hand, we're wearing masks and gloves like fucking heathens anytime we walk out the door. On the other hand, McDonald's and Taco Bell's been booming 24/7 since the fucking pandemic started. I'm curious how contagious it is. Like if a bunch of people did get it, I would love to know just for general curiosity. And again, even more so, if nobody got it, I think that would be an even cooler statistic to throw out. Like, hey, Jacare had it, but we can find him. He wore his mask and his gloves, and not one other person on this fucking card caught it. That's, for all of me, it seems like one for the home team.
Yeah. So I'm looking it up. It's not only UFC fighters and staff who agreed to sign. ESPN reported that media members were also required to sign the waiver, thus ensuring that none of these present at the event would be able to report critically on the UFC's health and safety measures. In short, the journalists at the event who were expected to report on the UFC's pandemic protocols actually waived their right to do so, a significant blow to their ability to do their jobs.
Now, wait a minute, though. That's blurry. What does that mean?
Journalists at the event, it's not blurry at all. Journalists at the event signed a waiver where they are unable to report critically on the UFC's health and safety measures. If they were to report critically, so say a journalist there saw that somebody wasn't social distancing. They saw Souza with his mask off talking to person X. After he tests positive, they cannot write a report saying the UFC was not following social distancing protocols, or they would get sued.
Okay, true. But if said journalist catches COVID, can they say...
They cannot sue the UFC for it.
Fair enough, but can they fucking tell us that they got it?
I would imagine they could say they have it, but again, the lines there might be blurred.
Well, that's what I meant by blurriness.
Yeah, that line of it might be blurred, but the I was talking about the prior line of like you can't report negatively. Now, what does negative mean? Okay, got it. That's what you meant. My bad. Yeah, right, I guess exactly. That is blurred. What is considered to be negative?
Right, exactly. Because all I'm really curious about is how many people may or may not have caught this. If they keep that number a secret, you have to ask yourself why. Again, if nobody else contracted it from Jacare, you'd think the smart thing to do is let us know that. But if half the fucking card caught this shit, then you would understand why mum's the word. So I think that might be telling as well. I guess I kind of understand why they did that too. To be fair, you know, they're doing this event. They let these journalists in. The last thing you probably want is, you know, to be fair, some fucking cute little writer prick, writing down every little thing you guys might not do right and taking it back to fucking Ariel and his buddies or whatever. So, playing devil's advocate, I kind of see why they did that. We're in no man's land right now. They're trying to put on events for us. And I get it, Endeavor or whatever the fuck, WMEG, Morris, fucking Zach, whatever the fuck. I realize they're in debt and shit. But at the end of the day, they're also trying to get the fucking fights done. They probably don't want to be criticized at every turn. Just being, in the idea of being somewhat neutral, I kind of understand why they did that.
Yeah. I don't know, man. To me, whatever. It doesn't matter. I'm not a journalist. I don't want to be a journalist. I don't want to. I have obviously tons of friends in the MMA world who are journalists. Almost everybody on the network writes for some type of publication. But it's like, man, like to sign something saying that you're not allowed to criticize the protocol that the UFC is taking, is, I don't know how to view that as anything other than selling out. Like, how is that not selling out? You're agreeing to not be a journalist in regards to a certain topic in order to be a part of something.
Well, but here's the
selling
thing.
out.
I agree with you, but here's the thing. If you don't agree, you can't report on it accurately at all. So, you're kind of damned if you do, you're damned if you don't. Yeah, keep your integrity, but you ain't gonna know fuck all about the event. Whoever does sign that agreement, it's kind of like fucking going into China. At that point, once they get there, whatever they tell you is what you're going to know because you ain't allowed to come. So, if you want to be a part of any of this or you want to see any of these fighters, at least, I guess if I'm a journalist, the only reason I would maybe go, okay, so I can't write about any of this, but I know. And off the record, I suppose I can still have discussions with people, right? Like, you just can't publicly put it out there, but I would still know, and I would have that wealth of knowledge to kind of move forward with. So maybe a couple of the journalists just thought that, like, fuck it, we'll go. We can't report on any of it, but at least we'll be able to see what the fuck is actually going on, as opposed to just taking fucking, whoever the Tom, Dick, or Harry's word for it that went there.
One of my favorite books of all time is Mother Night, and Kurt Vonnegut's self-proclaimed in the intro. His self-proclaimed moral of the book was, be careful what you pretend to be, because in the end, you are what you pretend to be, right? And I think this is an example of that. If what you're saying is true, I completely believe that, right? Someone's going, listen, I just want to be a part of it. And at the end of the day, if I see what I see, I can't report on it, but I know I have that knowledge now.
Right.
But you are what you pretend to be. And
you're still a sellout.
You're still a sellout at the end of the day, and that's how you're going to be viewed by the rest of the world, and that's how the sport's going to be viewed, and that's how people like me, and I'm not the only person who's going to be like, fuck that. Like, why sell out for that? Start working events once COVID is over. But I guess it's like, but then you're telling them to lose money, I guess. So I get it. I'm not saying I don't understand. Like, I get it, but I don't know, man. It just, it hurts your integrity as a journalist. Journalists should have integrity above everything else. I would rather you have integrity and be a worse writer than the other way around. Yeah,
they should have just had Daddy Fred there. I got no problems with journalism. I'll sign your fucking agreement, Jack. I ain't telling nobody shit. Just let me be a part of the show. I ain't journalizing nothing, Jack.
I think at the end of the day, I think that's probably what everyone's argument was just like, fuck it, dude. Like, I get to work press at the first UFC event coming off of COVID. Like, I get to be present for one of the most stacked cards ever where nobody's allowed in the audience, and I get to be there. So,
I mean, and listen, if you're God damn, she looked good too. Not to be a fucking pervert. What was the broad's name? Joe B's wife, Megan O'Leary.
Uh-huh.
Good Lord, that cheetah skirt. But if you're that broad or, fucking Brett Okamoto, like these fucking, they're company people anyway. So they're probably like, yeah, bro, we wasn't going to say anything. You know what I mean? Like, Brett Okamoto, whatever DW says, he's like, you got it, bro. Like, I don't, you know what I'm saying? Brett, and you know what? To keep it a buck, I ain't even mad at Brett. Brett Okamoto took Ariel's fuck up and ran with it. He's like, oh, Ariel, you're a dumbass. You can't keep your yap shut. I will. I'll be the guy that interviews Dana White and doesn't say a fucking thing. And then, MMA hipsters like us will go, oh, Brett Okamono's just a shield for the company. Yeah, but again, like you just said, you was in your fucking basement, tweeting about the event while Brett Okamono was getting fucking one-on-ones with DW.
Yeah.
Sometimes you just got to play the fucking game, man.
I get it. By the way, I just saw this. Justin Gaethje got $100,000. He got a fight of the night 50, and then he got performance of the night 50. The other performance of the night went to. Do you know who it went to? Because it should be really obvious.
I don't know, man. This was a really good card.
I know.
Ngannou
It went to Ngannou, yeah, for sure.
Well, but dude, I don't know, man. What was the
dude? Bryce Mitchell.
Yeah.
Okay, hold on. Okay, are we done talking about the pre-card stuff?
Yeah. I mean, listen. Yeah, I don't want to waste no more time. We can fucking waste a bunch of time on the Ronies and all that bullshit. Let's get to the fights, right? We actually have fights, so let's get to them.
I'll move up real quick. Bottom of the card was Ryan Spann, Sam Alvey. We won't go into deep detail, but Sam Alvey looked a lot better than people expected. I think everyone kind of forgets how awkward that guy is and how weird it is to fight him and how hard it is to get him out of there. The results did not surprise me whatsoever. It seemed to surprise a lot of people who were predicting Ryan Spann would get the knockout.
Yeah, well, see, here's the deal, right? This is one of those fights where going in, we all knew what the score was. We all knew that this was a fight to see how good Ryan Spann was. We know Alvey's old. He's a veteran. He's on his way out. He's had some losses. Ryan Spann was the guy that we were interested in. For all of me, I got my answer. Ryan Spann ain't ready. He's not ready for it. He's not that guy just yet. I mean, for all due respect to Smiling Sam, I've said this before, he's one of the greatest, coolest guys in the industry for sure. But if you can't put him away, you know what I mean? Like if you're an up and coming guy and you ever want to fight fucking John Jones or one of those guys, you got to be able to put Smiling Sam away at this point in his career. The fact that Ryan Spann couldn't put him away and just looked okay in that fight, for all of me, don't bode well for Ryan Spann moving forward.
Bryce Mitchell, Charles Rosa.
Boy, what I tell you what, man. I'm so sorry to just keep running my mouth. And
You're good, man. You're good.
For all the cocksuckers out there that don't like the ground game, that bitch about ground fighting, this is the kind of fight that you want to show them.
Yes.
This is the fight where you're like, they grappled pretty much the whole time, and it was exciting as fuck the whole time.
They might have been on the feet for a minute the entire fight.
And it was exciting, though. That's the thing. You do get certain fights. You do get certain guys like John Fitch that just kind of want to control and play the control, lay and pray sort of game. But boy, if you get talented grapplers who are willing to go for it and shoot for submissions, for all of me, that's just as exciting as a good striking battle. That fucking fight was fantastic. And it was very impressive of is it Bryce?
Yep.
Bryce Mitchell. I didn't know. I picked him on my cards, and he pulled the twister off. Like I said last week, he sounds like a hillbilly, and he fucking landed a twister. So for all of me, I'm in there. But I tell you what, with this fight Saturday night, he really showed me something, man. Bryce Mitchell is a bad motherfucker. Like I kind of just thought, he's new. You can kind of pull anything on certain shitbirds. But Charles Rosa's no joke.
No,
for him to do that to him grappling was really fucking impressive.
He's not only a black belt, but he is a black belt under a legendary black belt. I mean, this isn't a black belt at the local YMCA. Like this is a legitimate BJJ black belt that Charles Rosa has. I'm not saying Charles Rosa is some wizard because he's not, but he's a black belt and he's a legitimate black belt. And for Bryce Mitchell to be able to do what he did to Charles Rosa does not make sense on paper. If you look at it on paper, it makes no sense. Like Bryce Mitchell, I don't know if I've been this impressed with a performance. Honest to God, I know I'm being dramatic because of how soon this is, right? Like this is the
prisoner
top,
of the moment.
It's the top thing in my mind, prisoner of the moment, yeah. But that was about as impressive of a fight as I've ever seen. I mean, it's one thing when you go in there and you knock somebody out in 20 seconds. That's crazy. When Jorge Masvidal knocks out Ben Askren in 5 seconds, right? It's easy to go, that's the most impressive thing I've ever seen. But that's also such a bizarre thing that I don't think he could replicate ever. If Bryce Mitchell fights Charles Rosa 10 times, I'm pretty sure this happens all 10 times. I don't know if this ever changes, This was just Bryce Mitchell just put, and I hate to sound like a dork, but he just put everybody on notice at 145. There's nobody that's not on notice at 145 at this point. How on earth are you going to stop that? It was. He's a phenom. How else do you put it? Like, the man is a phenom.
Well, you're like, listen, Kyle, you're getting a little wet in the panties here. But I mean, he did look good.
Did you see these scorecards on that fight?
I would imagine he got a couple of fucking 10-8s, right?
Pretty sure it was 3 10-8 straight against
I feel like Rosa did a little bit. I think that's what made the fight good too, is that Rosa was, he wasn't easy to submit. He did, he put up a little bit of a fight.
The only thing Rosa did was not get submitted. That was it.
Okay.
Go rewatch that fight. That was it. He literally did nothing else other than not get submitted, which was impressive considering what Bryce Mitchell was doing. But at the end of the day, not getting submitted is not all that impressive when you literally do nothing else. I mean, you do nothing else.
I will tell you this. When that motherfucker was trying to land that twister, the old pants almost came off, boy. I was like, son of a bitch, if this little goofy hillbilly lands 2, he would have been the first person ever, to the best of my knowledge, to land 2 twisters in the UFC. That would have been, I was rooting for him hard. Like, I didn't want to turn on Charles Rosa so much, but I was like, fuck yeah, put him in the twister, baby. That's what the fuck I'm talking. Let's make some fucking history.
That was wild, man. I'm just so impressed. Like, there are no words.
And he's getting his camo shorts. Did you fucking hear that? DW said that Reebok will be making camo shorts for him next time.
Listen,
so there you fucking go.
I have never bought anything from Reebok UFC. Buddy, I'm probably going to buy those shorts. I'm not even going to lie. I'm probably buying those shorts just because. Just the story around them. Okay. Bryce Mitchell, real quick, hypothetically. Bryce Mitchell, Ryan Hall. Talk to me.
I mean, look, at this point, if we're being honest, it's just a little early yet. Again, Bryce Mitchell looked good. Charles Rosa's a black belt, but let's not get ahead of ourselves. I would like to see Bryce Mitchell, let's slowly build up the ladder. Right now, for all me, I still think Ryan Hall dominates it.
That's kind of
somebody. Go ahead.
Yeah, that's kind of where I'm at. It's like, I still think if you're going to be grappling the entire time and no one's basically doing anything else, and it's Bryce Mitchell, Ryan Hall, I feel like Ryan Hall should take that. And Ryan Hall, I think, is bigger. So, right. That would be, but I'm not going to lie. In the words of Fred, it's getting me a little wet. I'm not going to lie. It's getting me a little wet.
Listen, it's very interesting.
Because I think Bryce Mitchell is the better MMA fighter. I think at the end of the day, I think Bryce has more pieces than Ryan Hall does. We didn't necessarily see it, but I think just in general, if I'm just guessing, like Bryce is more of a complete package.
Oh, I'm pretty sure I can outbox Ryan Hall. So I don't think Ryan Hall is a very good striker at all. So you're probably right. Bryce Mitchell's probably a better striker than Ryan Hall. That being said, you would have to lean side with Ryan Hall as far as the grappling goes. I mean, Bryce Mitchell's looked good, but to be fair, it has been against, he didn't fucking submit fucking BJ Penn with a rolling fucking ankle pick or whatever the fuck kind of bullshit Ryan Hall did to BJ.
Yeah. Vincent Luque, Nico Price, they had a rematch, and I guess the rematch went as expected. Luque dominated for the most part again. Nico had some moments. The fight wound up getting stopped due to a nasty eye injury for Nico Price. Not an injury from an eye poke, but just he got thunderstruck,
Listen.
A couple times.
I don't often toot my own horn on here, but when I get the fucking chance to, I like to do it. And I hate to say it, or I love to say it rather. I call this one right on the money, man. Nico Price's toughness was one of his attributes in this fight, and I'm never a big fan of that going into a fight. If you're like, well, this guy's pretty fucking tough, he can take a lot of damage, and the other guy likes to dole out a lot of damage, I feel like this is what you're going to see every time. Kind of sucks for Nico Price too, because maybe Vicente Luque is just that guy for him. But I feel like, like with what you said earlier, I think if these cats fought 10 times, this happens fucking 9 of them. I think Vicente Luque is just a all around better fighter. Like Nico Price, you want to know what his fucking limit is? His ceiling? It's Vicente. That's it. That's as high as fucking Nico goes, which is kind of a bummer because he's a fun fighter, but I think that's where he maxes out, clearly.
Yeah. There's nothing to add. That was good.
Yeah.
I have nothing to add. Nico Price, super tough, but at the end of the day, he lost the first time for a reason. This time, I think he was actually even a little bit more dominant for Vicente Luque. We don't need to see this again. Nico Price is still good. He's still going to hang around.
Sure.
We also kind of know what he is. I don't think he's ever going to get past any real gatekeeper at 170. I think Nico just kind of is what he is, and that's cool. He'll be around. He deserves to be around. I'm excited to watch his fights. Carlos Esparza, Michelle Waterson, not much to talk about. I think I had Michelle Waterson winning this fight going into it. I did think it was very, very close. I guess I went with Carlos Esparza, which is what the judges wind up going with. Although the scorecards for that one were kind of weird. I think somebody gave Michelle Waterson 30-27, and then somebody gave Carlos Esparza 30-27, which that's always weird when you see that.
Yeah. Listen, I'm not going to fucking sugarcoat it. Thank God I'm a fucking disgusting pervert during fights like this because their fucking asses were the only good thing about this fight. This fight sucked. I thought the decision was trash. This was the only fight on the card that it was kind of boring, to keep it a buck. The fight never got too exciting. I thought the Karate Hottie won for whatever it's worth, but I don't think it was a robbery. One of those fights where it was a meh.
Another close fight back and forth. Alexei Olenek taking on Fabricio Verdum. I really thought Verdum was going to submit Olenek. I'm completely shocked that that's not how this fight went.
Same. I mean, I got to hand it to Olenek. When he came out in that first round, fucking throwing them hands the way he did, I was surprised. And it was a brilliant strategy by him. Like that's exactly what he needed to do to win that fight. And he did it. Come out, let your fucking hands go, get Fabricio on the back foot. Do not let him establish any sort of striking. Definitely don't let him establish any sort of grappling on you. And Olenek did the fucking job. And listen, by the time that Fabricio started getting advantageous positions with him, he had already hurt Fabricio a little bit in that first round and gained his respect. So by that time, Olenek wasn't like, oh God, Fabricio's on top of me on the ground, or Fabricio's, whatever. He was content, and he had hurt Fabricio and taken a little wind out of his sails. So, fuck, I was completely surprised. I mean, look, man, Verdum has submitted Fedor, Big Nog, Cain Velasquez. I mean, we weren't off the fucking mark by assuming that he was going to submit motherfucking Alexei Olenek. But that's why you got to actually have the motherfucking fights, man. And that's why, it's not a grappling competition. Olenek put them hands on him in the first round. And I think that first round, the way that Olenek was striking on him, I think that kind of won him the fight. He came out and set the precedent, and that set the tone for the whole fight, basically.
It's hard for me to fathom. I don't understand Olenek. Like, do you understand him? Like, do you get what he is? Because I don't get it.
I'll tell you what. He's interesting.
His record is absurd. Like, what he's been able to accomplish and what he's still accomplishing at this age with his pedigree, I don't get it. And then to go against a guy like Verdum and get out of there with a win is just wild. I don't get it.
I tell you what, I love it though, man. Heavyweight needs some names and some interesting characters. So I think Olenek winning is fucking cool, man. It puts another, kind of, I wouldn't, throw him in there with Ngannou or nothing crazy just yet. But, Verdum's a big W, man. You got to really give Olenek his credit. I know that Verdum hadn't fought in a long time. He looked fatter than fuck. Global pandemic, the whole most of it. But all things considered, Olenek looked fucking impressive. So you got shout out to Olenek, man. I'll be really, really intrigued to see who they give him next at heavyweight, and more so what he does in that fight. Olenek, cute cocksucker might be a fucking future title contender.
I guess it's like
he may well be. Dude.
I know, it's crazy. I don't know. We'll see. I would love to see it just because. Why not?
Let me ask you a slightly racist question here.
Oh God. I don't like this. I don't like where this is going.
Are Olenek and Jan Blachowicz like the same sort of hunky?
I don't know.
Are they from the same spot in Europe? Because I tell you what, if they are, well, it's fucking Poland or Iceland or whatever the fuck those big white boys are from. They ain't fucking nothing nice, and they're fucking doing their thing. They remind me of each other.
They're crazy. Anthony Pettis, Donald Cerrone. Anthony Pettis did get the win. Again, back and forth, fantastic fight. It was everything we thought it would be. I think for me, that's kind of what this card was. It was everything kind of was what it was. The only fight that was surprising to me was Olenek Verdum. I just did not think it was going to go that way. And even where I didn't predict things right, like I thought Dominic Cruz would beat Cejudo, the result did not surprise me. I thought Jeremy Stevens was going to beat Calvin Kattar. The result did not surprise me. You know what I mean?
Sure.
Every fight pretty much went, not counting winner or loser, but every fight pretty much went how I imagined it could go or would go in most instances. The only one was Verdum Olenek. I just did not. I would have given Olenek a 5% chance of winning a decision. I was like, he's just going to get out-grappled. He's going to get taken down. He's going to get submitted. He's going to try to pull some stuff that he's not going to be able to pull against a guy like Verdum. That fight just super surprised me. Pettis Cerrone, I mean, there you go. Like, that's what that fight was supposed to look like, and it was fantastic.
Yeah, I mean, this is a rematch that, I don't know how long it's been, 3-4 years, 5, 6, whatever the fuck, when they fought the first time. But in the first fight, Anthony caught him with a body kick and finished Donald in the first round. And I remember watching that fight, and I was a big Anthony Pettis fan, so I was good with it. But I remember thinking it was one of those deals where, a lot like you said with Jorge Masvidal and Ben Askren, if they fought again, I thought, it doesn't go like that again. I didn't think that Cowboy would win, but it was just one of those things where it's like he probably doesn't win like that. This fight, I felt like this is what the fight should have been. You know what I mean? Like them fighting back and forth for 3 fucking hard rounds. They're obviously, very close in skill and shit like that. Like the first fight, I didn't feel like was very indicative of what Cowboy can actually do as a fighter. This fight was that's who Cowboy is. So even though Cowboy lost, I feel like he kind of had a moral victory, so to speak, because it's like, you finished me with that fucking body kick in 2 minutes the first time we fought. This time we went back and forth for 15 fucking minutes, and some people think I won the fight. Like, this is what it should have been. You know what I'm saying? So great fight, both guys. And I don't, it ain't like I'm down on Cowboy. Hell, I think his stock is higher now than it was after the Conor fight, even coming off another loss.
Yeah, I agree.
So.
Just because of it was a back and forth, and at the end of the day, 1 or 2 exchanges go differently, and Cerrone wins. It was that kind of a fight.
And to be fair, Anthony did poke him in the eye. I know he said he didn't and shit, but, listen, at home, we all have the fucking benefit of watching instant replay. You gave him the thumb right in the eye, AP. So, you might not have thought you did, but you did. And then you started thunderstriking the fuck out of him afterwards. So, here's what it is.
Greg, so the first fight, that was our prelims. Everything we just discussed were prelims.
Crazy.
So now we're getting into the main card. Greg Hardy ekes out, not really ekes out. Yorgan De Castro really didn't do anything, but this fight was pretty uneventful. I enjoyed it, though. I think people were complaining about it a lot more. I didn't find this fight to be not fun. It felt like there was so much kinetic energy, and at least people were throwing stuff. It was just like this wasn't Romero Adesanya, where nobody's even throwing anything. You know what I mean? For most of the fight, this was a tough fight. It also wasn't as long. I guess that's the issue with that fight. But this was a tough fight where Hardy was making in-fight adjustments, which is kind of surprising considering how young of a fighter he is at this point. He's making, in-fight adjustments. He's fighting smart. He's fighting a guy that should be a lot better than him. And at the end of the day, he won the fight because he was able to stall out De Castro enough. And clearly Hardy has good cardio. He has much better cardio than De Castro did, and it wasn't even close. How much credit do you give Greg Hardy in this win? I mean, does this win mean anything to you?
No, okay. Not really. I mean, was it his last fight where he fought Volkov?
Yes.
Okay, yeah. So it's like, even though he lost that fight, again, very big moral victory. I think we all thought Volkov was just going to smash Greg Hardy. He didn't. So that was kind of coming out of that fight. As much as I might not like Greg Hardy fucking out of the cage, I was like, hey, he fucking held his own against Volkov. He didn't get knocked out. He looked pretty fucking good, all things considered. Coming off of this fight, I mean, all due respect to fucking DeCastro, he's one of the guys that I was least familiar with on this whole fucking card. I know he fought, what was it, like the Tafa cat in Australia or something?
Yeah.
I don't know who the fuck that guy is. All due respect.
He had a walk-off.
He's no Volkov. You know what I'm saying? So I think this fight was a fight that Greg Hardy needed to get the finish in. Like, he needed to get the knockout in this one. For me, personally, for me to keep being like, oh, Greg Hardy's that dude. Now, I'm not, I'll watch him fight, but I'm not uber excited for Greg Hardy. I don't think, I feel like his ceiling is going to, even though he got through the Volkov fight, I still feel like he's probably not quite ever going to be the guy that maybe some people think he'll turn into. I don't think that he's going to end up being that great. I'm not impressed.
I think what this fight did, I think, for a lot of people, because who didn't want to they hate Greg Hardy. They don't want to give him any type of credit. I wonder how many of those people who have the opinions of Hardy that he doesn't belong here, shouldn't be here, whatever, is this going to be the turning point for them? Where they're like, he clearly belongs here. He has a close fight with Volkov, incredibly short notice, goes in there, doesn't get finished. I don't know if his face was even really bloody. I mean, he got out of there and he lost a decision. It is what it is. But he comes in, he comes back, he wins this fight, and he won it decently, clearly. Castro really wasn't doing anything, and he wasn't doing anything because Greg Hardy has a lot better cardio, and he didn't want to get hit by him, so he wasn't jumping in there. And that means something. That means something. I wonder if this is the turning point for guys who are just like, Hardy should not be here. Like, this has got to be a turning point for them. Clearly he belongs. Clearly he has a place in the UFC, a place at heavyweight at the very least here, right? I mean, the heavyweight division is pretty slim to begin with. But anybody moving forward that keeps acting like Hardy doesn't belong in the UFC, like, come on. What else does the guy need to do to prove he at least fucking belongs?
Oh, well, look, make no mistake about it. He belongs in the UFC for sure. I mean, he at least, he's of that caliber, no doubt about it. I just want to see him get that ass whooped. And I'll tell you what was it, fucking Mick Maynard and Sean Shelby? Daddy Fred's about to do your job for you once again. Here's the fucking fight, the book coming out of this. Derek Lewis, Greg Hardy. Fucking good guy, villain. Derek Lewis has been on the record saying he likes beating up women fucking beaters. That's why he threw Travis Brown that beating and enjoyed it. I think that's a fucking great fight. And, I mean, listen, I know we had the Derek Lewis and Ngannou thing, so fuck off with that. But beyond that, more than likely, Derek Lewis makes Greg Hardy fight. And it's a fun, entertaining fight. So, and then, look, enough with Greg Hardy. Throw him into the frying pan. I think long, but let's see if he can fucking actually hang. Enough with the Volkov.
I don't think we need to go Lewis yet. I think we need to build up to that. Calvin Kattar, Jeremy Stevens, very, very good fight. Kattar wound up getting the finish in the second round. Good stoppage. Here we are. Calvin Kattar, very good stoppage. Jeremy Stevens was not there anymore. But we'll be getting to a questionable stoppage shortly. But yeah, Calvin Kattar is really, really good. I've always known he was good. There wasn't like a question mark there, really. But I just thought Jeremy Stevens was going to be able to impose his will, and he clearly wasn't.
Yeah, same. I mean, Calvin Kattar's for real. Like, what the fuck? What fight were we talking about earlier where I felt like it was just a big test? Ryan Spann, Sam Alvey. I feel like we were kind of in that same zone with this. Like, we knew Calvin Kattar was a bad motherfucker, but this is Jeremy Stevens. Let's see how bad you really are. Calvin Kattar fucking, unlike Ryan Spann, he answered the question. He fucking finished Jeremy Stevens with a beautiful fucking step-in elbow right in the fucking kisser, and then landed another one that opened up a fucking Marvin Eastman-esque fucking cut on Jeremy Stevens' forehead. A full-on fucking vagina slit. Beautiful performance by Calvin Kattar. I wasn't like a massive Calvin Kattar guy going into this fight. It was kind of, we'll see what happens. He's a bad motherfucker. For all me, he kind of has become the new Jeremy Stevens to a degree. I mean, he can fucking really crack. And anybody that can step in the pocket with fucking Lil Heathen like that and win and smash fucking Jeremy Stevens like that on the feet is a bad lad. He's a bad lad, Jack.
Agreed. Very much so agreed. Speaking of bad lads,
Holy fuck.
Ngannou, Rosenstruck. Rosenstruck wanted this fight, man. This is the fight he wanted. He got it, and it lasted 20 seconds.
You know,
what did you learn anything from Ngannou here, or was this just what he does?
yeah, I mean, listen, of course you didn't learn much, right? He got another knockout in 13 seconds. But I tell you what I think after this going forward. You know how guys are always like, I need to build up my gas tank, and I need to make sure I can go 3 or 5 rounds. And we'll talk about Justin Gaethje here in just a moment about how he's like kind of conserves his energy a little more now. For all of me, I think Francis Ngannou needs to throw that out the fucking well. Francis Ngannou needs to go into a fight and say, motherfucker, you got 1 round. Daddy Francis is coming at you like a motherfucking house on fire for 5 minutes. And if you make it to round 2, go on and submit me. But I guess I mean to say, if Francis Ngannou comes out and he lets them fucking things go and he fucking jumps on you from the first bell, and he like if Francis does to Stipe what he did to Rosenstrike last night, I think he knocks Stipe out too. I think he knocks out damn near anybody who can't like take him off his feet immediately. Like maybe DC could win that grappling exchange immediately like that. And maybe Stipe could too. But I feel like if Francis just comes out and lets him go, balls to the wall, there's not many men that he doesn't end up doing that to.
It's terrifying, dude. If I'm in heavyweight, I want nothing to do with Ngannou. I'm just like, there is a quote easy pathway to victory, in that if you can just grapple him, he's really not gonna be able to do a whole lot to you. But in order to grab your body, I got to come into your space.
Right.
And if I'm coming into your space, there's at least a 50-50 chance I'm getting hit with something. So it's like, I don't want that. I don't want to mess with that. If I'm in heavyweight, I want nothing to do with it. I will say, I've liked this potential fight for a long time, but I'm even more, can we just find a way to make this happen? Can we get Anthony Johnson back in the UFC at heavyweight, looking how he looks now, and throw him in there with Ngannou? Because I think he would do it, and I want to see it.
I think he would do it, and I think he would get fucking starched out.
I agree, but boy, it's just, Anthony Johnson's one of the most violent people that we knew prior, right?
Sure.
And then Ngannou comes in, and granted it was at a different division, but still comes in and is just so violent. It's crazy.
And again, we are all big time prisoners of the moment in MMA. Let me say this. Don't get it twisted. Ngannou can get knocked out too. There's going to be a massive narrative coming out of this weekend that, oh my God, like I see everybody, DC don't want that smoke. Don't get it twisted. Ngannou did have the fight with Derek Lewis where for fucking 15 minutes he bounced around like a fucking idiot and did nothing. Now, I don't know what happened to him in that fight. Gun shy, maybe he's seen a therapist, maybe it's all in the past. I don't know. But Ngannou can be beat. Now, he looked very impressive. We all know what he can do when he lets his hands go. But let's not all get too fucking overzealous on Ngannou here. He can be beat. There's definitely things you can do to him. You just have to come at him properly.
All right, we have our main and our co-main. Let's get to Justin Gaethje, Tony Ferguson first. Then we will get to the end. Justin Gaethje absolutely dismantled Tony Ferguson. Not to say that Tony Ferguson didn't have his moments. Tony Ferguson didn't have his moments, which he absolutely did. But at the end of the day, he got pieced apart. He got stopped on the feet. I get that Ferguson didn't want to be stopped on the feet, but at the end of the day, that was as good of a stoppage ever. Right? There was nothing wrong with that stoppage. That's what needed to happen. The damage would have been so much worse had that kept going. It just, I'm glad that there are refs that are willing to do that and understand they're going to get backlash from the fighters. You're going to get backlash from fans, but at the end of the day, you're there to protect them from themselves, and that stoppage needed to happen when it did. I don't think a lot of people were critiquing it, but for those of you who are, quit being dumb. Like, even Fred, who is just bleed, you got to knock me out kind of guy, I think even you are like, yeah, that needed to stop.
Yeah, sure. I think you know why I'm okay with the stoppage? Because it wasn't a close fight.
True.
If Tony had Justin in trouble several times, whether they were submission attempts, even if he had fucking rocked him, here or there, it might have been a little different. But he didn't. He was just kind of taking a beating the whole fucking fight. He landed a few punches here and there, sure.
He
He
wobbled
never
Gaethje.
hurt.
I mean,
Yeah, but for the most part, he was just taking a beat in that fight. So that's why at the end when they stopped it, I wasn't. I think that's why the general consensus is, yeah, it is what nobody. What was Tony gonna win the fight? Was he gonna knock Justin out? I mean, was he gonna submit him at that point? Like I think we all knew the writing was on the wall at that point. That fight was over. So we could have let Tony take a beating for another 3 minutes, but what the fuck for?
We all assume Gaethje's fighting Khabib now to unify the titles. To unify this was interim, correct?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, whatever, man. He's
to
fighting.
Unify. Yeah, he's gonna fight Khabib. That is the assumption. How does that fight go? Give me your 30-second breakdown. How does that fight go?
I mean, listen, man. Again, prisoner of the moment, but for all me, I'm not the X's and O's guys, but I'm rooting for Gaethje at this point. Can Gaethje knock Khabib out? You bet your fucking sweet tits he can. You bet your sweet tits he can knock Khabib out in the first fucking round. Khabib ain't never been hit like Justin can hit him. That's a fact. Now, can Justin hit him? Can he keep the little Russian bear off of him? That'll be the major question. But I'm going to tell you something right now. Justin Gaethje's got just as good a chance as beating up fucking Khabib Nurmagomedov than anybody else does. For sure. And maybe, the X's and O's guys will get into this a little more than we will. But Gaethje's got an interesting style. He can wrestle. Defensively, his wrestling might be quite good. All he has to do is land one good punch on fucking Khabib. Khabib, I mean, listen, I don't know what the fuck's happened to him in training, but from all the fights I've ever seen Khabib in, he's never been really caught flush. Now, that's a good thing because it's a testament to how good he is. But on the other hand, he's never really been hit fucking hard. That, the first person that knocks the fuck out of Khabib, Khabib might go on fucking chicken legs immediately. And that fight might be over 2 seconds later. We've never really seen Khabib get rocked. If Justin is the guy that actually punches Khabib clean the first time, I'm going to tell you right now, it ain't going to be good for Khabib. Obviously, smart money's on Khabib, right? Goes without saying.
Yeah.
But I think Justin is a live fucking dog. And, so for all me, I'm picking Justin Gaethje.
Where does Tony go from here?
Good question, man. I don't really know. Wherever he wants to a degree, he was still standing when the fight got finished. I feel like a lot of us probably could have saw this coming. His striking is unorthodox. I think that this is pretty much the fight. This is the way I thought the fight would play out. I just thought that Justin would gas in the 4th or 5th round, and then Tony could implement his grappling. Come to find out, Justin conserves his energy well, and he never gassed, so Tony never got to do that. But I don't think that Tony looked bad. Styles make fights, man. That's a fact. Justin Gaethje, they were preparing for Khabib, which is completely different than Gaethje. So I ain't mad at Tony, man. Tough fight for him, but he'll be back. Just he deserves another top contender as soon as he's ready.
Yeah. Do you think Tony fights Conor? Do you think that's what's next here?
No, just because, we won't get into too much. We don't got a lot of time. We'll get to it next week, I'm sure. But I think Fight Island and Conor Jorge is the thing. Seems like the move to me. So
Henry Cejudo, Dominic Cruz.
You cocksucker.
I tweeted out once the stoppage happened to make sure that somebody did a health and welfare check on you. Did anybody check up on you? Were you
nobody.
okay?
Nobody fucking checked up
no
on
one
me.
checked
Thank
up
God
on
I
you?
wasn't fucking hanging from the chandelier. No, not one fucking cocksucker jumped in the DMs.
So Henry Cejudo winds up getting the finish against Dominic Cruz. The finish, the stoppage, I should say, is, controversial. I would like to get your take, although I know exactly what your take is, but I would like to get your take on the stoppage. I'll give mine momentarily. And then the big news, Henry Cejudo, after the fight, announces his retirement, which on one hand feels like a troll job, but they made this point in the broadcast that he walked away from wrestling on top, that he could have absolutely kept going. he chose to walk away. And not only did he walk away after winning gold, but he didn't immediately then go into MMA. I mean, he walked away entirely and started doing other stuff, and then later, picked up and went, started picking up MMA and stuff. So there is precedent for Cejudo to just walk away when he's on top. So I think it's easy to call this a troll job, but there is a little bit more to it than that. So I want to get your take on both of those things, Fred. And listen, the floor is yours basically to the end of the show.
Oh, God. Where the fuck do I start? Let's start with the retirement. First things first, I hope it's a fucking troll job. I hope it's a troll job. That cute little cocksucker, nothing will sting my ass more. I can't even describe the agony I'll be in if the little fucker don't fight again. Because for me, it will have been the biggest bunch of horseshit to ever occur under the UFC's banner. I mean, take it back to the DJ fight. Close fight with DJ. He wins. Fair enough. Bullshit. Close fight. He gets the fight with TJ. TJ's cheating. TJ fucking takes everything known to mankind to get down to 25. He gets caught with a clean bunch. Boom. Down he goes. Goes up to 35. Fights Marlon Moraes. Gets the piss beat out of him in the first round. Marlon gasses majorly. Fucking little fucking Cejudo takes over. He wins the bantamweight belt. Now he's fucking Triple C. We can't get enough of this fucking prick running his mouth. Then he's supposed to fight fucking Jose Aldo. That shit doesn't work, which Jose's 145 years old anyways. So they pull up Dominic Cruz. And listen, I'm not going to go back on this because I'm a big Dominic Cruz fan, and I thought that Dominic was going to fuck him up. But to be fair, Dominic Cruz has been injured more times than Evil fucking Knievel. And he's coming back after a 4-year fucking layoff. It was fucking during a pandemic. It was and then the finish was low-key some bullshit. And I'll tell you what, Henry's got a nice, cute little strategy where he does this too. And to be fair, kudos on the knee. He did land the knee. So congratulations on that, you little fucker. But after that, he's got this cute little thing he does. And, listen, he's playing the game well. Far be it for me to criticize him. More power to him. But he gets you hurt, and then he runs up on you, and he throws as many fucking punches as fast as he can because he fucking knows that if he just keeps swinging, that fucking ref is eventually going to jump in and stop it. And that's exactly what happened. I don't think that Dominic Cruz was close to being out. Dominic Cruz was fighting to a knee. He was about to stand up. Now, listen, you can argue whether he was going to win or not. Maybe he wasn't. Whatever. Maybe he would have been rocked. Whatever. Maybe he would have got called another punch and dropped again. But in that moment, he was trying to stand up. He was, he was defending himself properly. It was not a great stoppage. And then Henry Cejudo wants to fucking retire. I can't fucking handle it. It's fucking the most absurd level of horseshit. Now, I guess the idea is that maybe he's trying to get more money out of DW and them. I fucking hope so. Because if he doesn't fight fucking Peter Yan or Aljamain Sterling or one of these fucking top contenders that are remotely close to his fucking age, and he tries to scurry off into the sunset and let pricks crown him the fucking, the little weight goat, fuck that right in the pussy. He gets no such respect from me. He needs to fucking stick around and fight the fucking contenders. Dominic Cruz, fucking Evil Knievel, 142 years old, as much as I like him, and as much as I thought that fucking stoppage was bullshit, he needs to fight some top contenders. Fuck that.
Okay. The stoppage was not great, but it was close. I think at the end of the day, I don't have a problem with the stoppage. He took a very hard knee that sent his eyes cross-eyed. He then took 11 or 12 follow-up shots and did not defend any of them, and all 11, 12 of those shots went to his head. At the very end, right as the ref is stepping in, he's starting to get back up. But before the ref goes in to start letting them up, right? Before the ref goes in to stop the fight, he's not getting up. It is literally a split second. He's starting to get up, and then the ref jumps in. So
he couldn't have time to defend himself, though. Fucking hit, like, you gotta. That's what I mean. That's how Henry gets these stoppages. He fucking swarms on you and throws so many punches. You gotta fucking give me a second to defend him. If the little cute prick won't stop punching me, give me a minute. Like, he's just fucking like a little fucking jackrabbit fucking bunny in there.
It reminds me of Dodson. You know how Dodson would get those finishes that were, he would just swarm you, and then they get stopped, right? I mean,
it reminds me of fucking my girlfriend when I was 16 years old and drunk on Little Mickey's. You know what I'm saying?
So I don't know. At the end of the day, if you take 11 unanswered shots to your head, I mean, how upset can you get at a ref? I mean, I don't know. It seems like this is being overblown. It wasn't that bad of a fucking stoppage. Like,
it wasn't a horrible stoppage, but and listen, to be fair, I just don't like that fucking little prick. So I'll be honest with you, I'm biased in this one. I just don't like fucking Cejudo. He can kiss my fucking ass. So fuck that. Yeah, that's not a good stoppage for all me, but yeah, whatever.
Dominic Cruz said that Goddard smelled like it was Goddard, right?
Yeah. Fucking cigarettes and beer, huh?
Now, do you give any weight to that, or is Cruz just being an asshole?
I mean, yeah. Am I gonna call him a liar? I don't think he's fucking lying. I also don't think it means fucking shit. I don't give a fuck if he smelled like cocaine and hookers. He's the ref. He called it. We all know how this story goes. I don't give a shit. We've seen the fight's not getting overturned. You can fucking put that in your pipe and smoke it, Jack. The fight's not getting overturned. So I don't give a fuck. And then cigarettes, quite frankly, what's that got to do with anything? Cigarettes are legal. You're allowed to smoke them. He smelled like cigarettes. Gives a fuck.
What was your favorite fight on the card, Fred?
Probably fucking Bryce Mitchell and Charles
too.
Russell.
Me too.
That better the main event. I mean, who doesn't like a fucking bloody slugfest? So
I just loved seeing that from Bryce Mitchell. I kind of thought he could do that, but I just didn't realize to what degree. I mean, that was a clinic. So, that was my favorite fight of the card too. I like how we're ridiculous. No one else is going to say that.
Oh, well, I think the grapple heavy fans would, but yeah, most of the Just Bleed pricks are going to pick Calvin Kattar or Jeremy Stevens or the main event. Which, to be fair, were great fights too. But yeah, something in my spot for a good grappling match that I love.
Yeah. All right. Well, Fred, that's it for us, buddy. We're out of here.
It is.
Good show, chap. Anything you want to add before we go?
No, that's it. Listen, we got a show Wednesday, another one Saturday. We'll be back again next fucking Sunday, Monday, whatever, and we're back on track.
We did not talk about Wednesday or Saturday at all, but that's fine.
Don't need to. That's why we have a preview show on the channel.
Yep, we'll talk about the recaps of those shows this week.
Listen,
this Sunday.
Once the action happens, you come to this fucking podcast to get the real fucking beans spilled. You understand me? You want to fucking hear about the cards coming up? Check out our fucking preview shows. Once all the beans get spilled, then you come back and let Daddy Fred tell you what happened.
Exactly. All right, guys, we're out of here. We will see you next week.